Welcome to the channel. Welcome to today's run through of all the latest Manchester United news and transfer updates, keeping you right up to date with everything. I'm Jamie. Before getting into it, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let's jump straight into it. So let's kick off with a little bit of injury news ahead of the big game tomorrow, especially with the teams around us, dropping points. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how the results go today. But it's little bit of an injury scare regarding Matheus Cunha. So Matheus Cunha had an accident in training today and will not be able to attend the Altrincham Christmas light switch on tonight due to medical reasons. So that came out late last night regarding Matheus Cunha unable to attend a Christmas event in Altrincham because of some kind of knock or medical or injury. Ben Jacobs has said that Matheus Cunha sustained a knock in training today to his head. It's only a minor issue, but enough for him to stay home from a Christmas event in Altrincham. So it's not perceived to be too serious, but kept him out of going to an event. So that's an interesting one to pay attention to. Hopefully, it'll be okay for tomorrow night because obviously with Sesko's injury, my expectation is that Cunha is going to play up front. I mean, if not, does that give Xerxes the opportunity? Do we maybe bring Mainu in to midfield and Bruno as one of the tens and Bumo up front? Like it gives Amram a little bit of a headache, but it's according to the reports, it's nothing too serious. It was maybe just a precautionary where he felt a little bit dizzy or had a little bit of a headache, so decided not to go to the event. So hopefully it's nothing keeping him out of Monday night's picture, because that would be a bit of a blow, especially as I said with Sesko being out injured. On Mainu, I mentioned there, Sully Talks has said that Kobe Mainu has returned to group training today and is in contention to be in the squad against Everton. Up to Amram and coaches, 12 academy players also trained with first team today, including Starlet, Shea Lacey and Jack Fletcher. So I brought you the report the other day where Amarim in his press conference was saying that actually, look, we do need to start. We could potentially use the young players when AFCON comes about. So it makes stands to reason, and they do come into training. I think there's a little bit more attention and focus on developing the young players as well. So, but yeah, maybe Mainu makes the bench. If Cunha's fit, I'd imagine he'll be on the bench. But if he's not, do you then bring Mainu in to maybe play as a 10 or push Bruno up as a 10, play Mainu in midfield? Got a little bit of a few options there, but hopefully it's nothing too serious. And stick with injuries. Solly Talks also said that Lisandro Martinez is expected to return to the Manchester United squad against Everton. The next 2 days are important for how he fares in training. Martinez has told Ruben Amorim that he's ready multiple times this week, and so Martinez himself busting to come back and get involved. It's obviously down to Amorim and the medical team to see whether he is in contention and make the bench ahead of the game tomorrow night. And on Martinez himself on his injury, Amram said the following: "So he is almost ready to play. I don't know if he'll be available for the next match, but his mindset, his way of training, the way he motivates his teammates, and his playing style are very important to us." But we have to remain cautious. There are players in his position who are performing very well. It's my responsibility. It's my decision. But I think he's ready to rejoin the group, suggesting that maybe we might see Martinez make the bench or be involved in some way, shape, or form ahead of the game tomorrow. It's actually turning into, I think every game's big at the moment in the Premier League, but especially with the results going in our favour yesterday. If we look at the league table, currently in 10th, but level on points with Tottenham and Villa. Tottenham play Arsenal today. Villa have got Leeds, so we'll have to wait and see how their results go on. But if we get favourable results from them, a win against Everton could take us all the way up to, what would that be, 21 points, which would take us up to 4th, potentially 5th if Villa beat Leeds, for example, or if Tottenham beat Arsenal, then potentially, 5th, 6th, which is, and level on points, only a point behind City. There's a big opportunity for us to climb the table with the results that actually went in our favour yesterday, with Liverpool losing, throwing that in there. Sunderland losing. Obviously, it was annoying that Brighton picked up points as well, but actually, it was a decent weekend so far for us. If we can get some favourable results today as well, that'll be massive as well. So it puts a little bit more pressure on, which I said in my preview. I worry though when the pressure's on some of these players, because they whenever there's an opportunity for us to climb the table or to take an advantage or to get into the top 4. Even we had an opportunity a couple of weeks ago to to go into second, got a nosebleed and drop points, and that's my fear Monday night, but hopefully they'll get the job done. But give us your thoughts on that in the comments below, as I'm sure that you will. There's been an interesting transfer update around our ever growing search for a midfielder, and none other than Joao Gomes. So this is coming from Travella, who are actually a decent South American, like Brazilian news outlet, saying that conversations have taken place in recent days between Man United and Wolves for the transfer of Joao Gomes. There is hope that, and the expectation is that the move will happen in the January transfer window. I'd still want to see a lot more credibility, because I think if there were, talks and things like that, maybe Romano or one of the more credible transfer experts would have come out and um made a video or done a post regarding this. But at the time of recording this video, there's not been any more credibility other than this one South American news outlet suggesting that United and Wolves are in talks regarding the transfer of Joao Gomes, but there's been a little bit of conflicting stories as ever with United transfers regarding Joao Gomes. There was a report the other day, I think it was from Dean Jones, which was saying that Wolves' new manager has been told they don't want to sell players in January because they want to give him the best opportunity to try and avoid relegation. But then if the results don't go their way and they're still yet to win a Premier League game this season, and they're in a precarious situation anyway, let's say that. Who knows? Maybe a cheeky bid in January, because that's the other reports, is that United may be prepared to test the waters for Joao Gomez in January, because what's the players? I think the players going to have a big say in this, because he might want to jump ship in January if things are not going well and they're pretty nailed on to be relegated. Then maybe the player would agitate for a move to go to another club, and we're looking for a midfielder. I still think this is a plausible one. There's still a lot can happen between now and January, but it still feels like one that's maybe doable, more gettable anyway in January than Wharton Baleba. Although, he put in another stinker yesterday, didn't he? So I don't know the appetite still to go for Baleba, but Elliot Anderson, whose stock is only rising after his performance yesterday, does Gomez become more of a viable option? I like Gomez. I think he would be a good player for us to bring in. I've shown this before, but this is him comparable to Casemiro, and that's where I would see Gomez playing more as the sort of defensive shield. Similar in terms of passing, duels, possession one, but Gomez is a better carrier of the ball, plays a few more forward passes as well. And remember, this is playing for a Wolves team that are not performing very well at the moment, and like I said, yet to win a Premier League game, and he's doing a decent job in there, and very, very similar in comparable stats to Casemiro. Younger, Premier League proven. He's 24 years old. I think he's ready to potentially take that step up. So I wouldn't be against going for Joao Gomez. I think he's a decent shout for our midfield and would give us something that we're looking for: a little bit of tenacity, a little bit of bite in there, and like I said, comparable to Casemiro in terms of the metrics and the stats and the data as well. But yeah, give us your thoughts. Like I said, I would want to see a little bit more credibility than where that source is coming from, though, because at the time of recording, there's not been any more media attention on that story. Nobody else has rolled with that, and sometimes you'll get a story that comes from like an obscure source, and then someone with a little bit more weight or a little bit more credibility will either confirm or debunk those stories and rumors. But at the time of recording, there's not been any of that. So at the minute, we'll take it with a pinch of salt. It's an interesting shout, though. But yeah, get involved in the comments. Let me know what you think. Joao Gomez, good option for January. I could see, like I said, I think it's one of the plausible midfielders that we could go for if there is an appetite for us to go for him. Would be relatively, the reports the other day were about £44 million or 50 million euros for Joao Gomez, which I don't think is a bad shout neither as well. But yeah, get involved in the comments. Let me know what you think regarding Gomez. Now let's go through the Onana news next. So this is coming from iPaper. So I saw it in the Manchester Evening News saying that out on loan goalkeeper Andre Onana is reportedly eager to revive his United career once he returns to the club from Trabzonspor. The 29-year-old is spending the campaign in Turkey after losing his number one position at Old Trafford following a series of high-profile errors last year. According to iPaper, the Cameroon international still hopes to reclaim the gloves upon the conclusion of his loan spell. However, sources close to Onana suggest that a transfer to another Premier League team has not been ruled out either. I mean, is there going to be much appetite in the Premier League to go for Andre Onana, considering his performances in the Premier League? I'm not entirely sure or convinced by that. In the report, though, itself, there's a couple of interesting things I wanted to share with you. So it says Andre Onana has not given up hope of resurrecting his Manchester United career when he returns from his loan spell in Turkey and is open to moving to another Premier League club in order to keep his English dream alive. And then it goes on to say sources close to Onana are also not ruling out trying to engineer a move to another Premier League club should deposing Senny Lemons in the United goal not be deemed possible. And I would suggest that it's wishful thinking to think that Andre Onana is going to come back and get anywhere near the first team, especially I think we've seen Ruben Amorim do an interview again today where he was praising Sen Lemons as well. So I don't think that's going to be a viable option. Interestingly, though, on the report, though, it does say that two other loanees will almost certainly leave United permanently. Then United had hoped Jadon Sancho would rediscover his best form on loan at Aston Villa for them to take up the option to extend the Castaway's contract and then sell him in the close season. Another failed loan stint away from Old Trafford means that the club are unlikely to do that, given Sancho's exorbitant wages, and the 25-year-old will then leave for free. So they're basically saying, look, because his loan spell's gone pretty bad so far at Aston Villa, then the plan was loan him out, hope that he does really well, rises and his stock rises, do the +1 on his contract, and then sell him in the summer and make a little bit of money back for the deal. But because his loan's gone tits up and he's not performing very well, they're basically now at the position where they're like, well, there's no point in doing the +1 because nobody's really going to want to buy him in the summer. It's just going to end up doing another loan, and that's just pointless for us. So they're not going to do that. It says where he will move remains a mystery, with only clubs in Turkey and Saudi Arabia currently understood to be monitoring his situation. However, Sport Build have come out suggesting that Jadon Sancho reportedly set to slash his wages by 50% in order to secure a permanent return to Borussia Dortmund in January. So that could be a scenario where Villa terminate his loan, and then we facilitate a move for him to Borussia Dortmund, who have a obviously relationship with Jadon Sancho and a bit of a love affair for him. There was some stories the other day, wasn't there? If you remember, I can't remember where they came from, but it was suggesting that maybe Dortmund are looking at Jadon Sancho and he maybe wants to go back there. So that's potentially something that could happen in January. It's not going to make a difference for us. I don't know whether we'll get a transfer fee or whether we would do a loan and still let him go for free. I think they're just prepared at the moment. I think they just want his wages off the books. That's the most important thing at the moment now for Sancho. Just get rid of the high salary and the wages permanently off the books. Forget about getting a transfer fee or anything for him because he's not really got that much value anyway, and just be gone with the whole situation, and we mark it down as, in my opinion, the worst transfer in our recent history, which is saying something considering we've had some pretty bad stinkers in that area. But give us your thoughts on that in the comments below. Going back to the report, the other player mentioned in there is Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford's outlet is looking much rosier. Barcelona are impressed with the England international's first few months in Spain. His efforts in the Champions League, where he has 4 goals already, are particularly stood out. And it's basically saying that maybe Barcelona are looking to take up the buy option for Marcus Rashford, which will be £26 million unless something crazy happens and another team come in. But I think that's the option to buy around that fee for Marcus Rashford. So again, keep an eye on that one. Give us your thoughts on that in the comments below. Going back to the goalkeeper, though, there's been a report from Spain. Spanish outlet El Desmarque report that Manchester United have made an offer to sign Barcelona goalkeeper Marc-Andre Ter Stegen in January. According to the report, both United and Besiktas have submitted bids for the German international, whose future at Barca remains uncertain. United bought in Sen Lemons from Royal Antwerp during the summer, while Andre Onana is currently out on loan at Trabzonspor. But again, whenever we get linked with a Barcelona player, personally, I just dismiss it instantly because we don't really buy players from Barcelona, yet we get linked with them all the time. We've had links with Lewandowski recently. We had reports from Fachahez the other day. This is a funny one. I didn't bring it to you because I was like, I'm not even entertaining that. But they were saying that United are ready to pay £150 million for Rafinha. We've had that story doing the rounds. Again, we never sign anyone for Barcelona, so I would be I'd want to see more credibility anyway before making an assessment on Ter Stegen. And there are some rumours potentially that that Bayindir is of interest to Turkish clubs as well. But would Ter Stegen want to come in? I think it would rock the boat. I like Sen Lemons. I think he's the one for me at the moment, and I wouldn't want to do too much to, rock the boat, affect his confidence. Do you know what I mean? Let's just like I like I like Saint Lemons in goal personally. But and if we are going to bring in a number two or maybe even a number three, because Tom Eaton's going to be out of contract in the summer, I can see us maybe going for like an older, experienced English goalkeeper, because that's generally the rule, isn't it? With the third choice goalkeeper, homegrown, and just somebody that's a steady Eddie that can, help with the training and stuff like that. But yeah, Ter Stegen one. I'm going to say take that with a pinch of salt for now, but give us your thoughts on that in the comments below, as I am sure that you will. Give us your thoughts on all the other topics discussed in today's video, because that's you all up to date with the latest news and transfer updates. And don't forget to smash a like on the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. See you in the next one.